I want to list off a few things that I've learned from you. Obviously, I've learned a whole bunch of things from you. I've known you for a decade now. It's kind of crazy.
When were you a freshman in high school?
2014.
2014. And for people need to hear this before you start.
Yeah.
The 2014 Plainfield North freshman football team, if there was an all-time best freshman teams in the state of Illinois, they would get some votes for being the best freshman team of all times. That team outscored their opponents. Their defense, our defense, outscored our opponent's offense. We had a running clock in every game. I think we beat Pekin 86-7, playing 10-minute quarters. That's really hard to do. To beat somebody 86-7, and I tell people they just kept throwing, and we kept pick six.
Yeah.
But what was crazy was we were so fast and everything, and you came out a little bit late in the summer, and you were like, already we had the fastest freshman team I've ever seen, and you were the fastest freshman on the whole team. And I mean, the way we handheld times, you ran, I remember 4.39. And, so I still remember that 4.39 in the 40. And in the first day of practice,
First day of freshman practice, yeah.
You had a hip avulsion.
Yep.
And missed the entire year.
And I do attribute, I was late to the camp because I had knee surgery to remove
that's right.
a benign tumor that was on my knee. So they shaved that down, came out. And I ran that without shoes. I don't know if you remember that or not. My first start.
You're barefoot?
My shoe broke. So everyone's like, does anybody have an extra pair of shoes? Blah, blah, blah. I was just like, let's run it in socks. But all right, here are the things I've learned from you so far. I have a lot more to learn. The more that you know, the more you know that you know nothing. And I want you to tell me kind of what resonates with you the most. Burn your goals, go on a mission, and surrender to the results. If you treat kids as criminals, they'll act like criminals. Be bold and open to new ideas. When depressed, go for a run. If still depressed, keep running. Don't drink the day before a meet. People will remember you not by the things that you say, but the way that you made them feel. Play the long game, and the grass may get greener, but it could become harder to mow.
Yeah, there's a lot of Southern Illinois isms in there. You forgot, don't plant beans and expect to grow corn.
I forgot that one. Told you, I forgot a bunch.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of like a quipper, like that. I love, and I know where I got all those things.
Yeah.
My dad would always say, like, he would take his basketball team on trips, and he did not do room checks. He didn't tape doors. Remember, you had a coach that taped doors.
Yep.
It wasn't me. I like the guy, so I won't say his name. And they had trouble.
Yep.
Because they taped doors, they had trouble. But my dad would always say that, if you treat kids like criminals, you're going to act like criminals. And he used to talk to his team using terms that his coach used. And his coach was a World War I veteran. And he would call them men, blah, 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 blah. Men. He wasn't turning boys into men. He treated them like men. And I think that's, kids will respond to the way you treat them.
Yep.
And I was always treated like, when I was in high school, like I was a college graduate. I was never given a curfew ever. But yet, because I was treated with respect, I did not want to disappoint my parents. It's kind of like the coach athlete thing I want to have.
Yep.
I hope that our athletes don't want to disappoint us.
Right.
I love the mission statement. I know that track is a goal sport, But, that whole thing about what happens when you reach your goal, like, do you start over? Do you wake up the same the next day? And then there's also one coach said that he stopped having a start of the year meeting where everybody writes their goals down on an index card and hands them in. And he'd look through them and say, if we met half our goals, we're going to be the best track team in the history of the world. Because the kids don't know what,
Right.
You can imagine, like one of your long jumpers, my goal is 27 feet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, you're probably not going to get that. But I think a mission statement is more general. And that is, I love what I'm doing. And the most important practice is today's practice. The most important meet is our next meet. Do I know the meets that are on our schedule later? Hell yeah. I know exactly, what the order of the meets are. I study our sport. But I'm not constantly looking at like the goalpost. It's kind of like I'm thinking about, a football metaphor, the next play. Let's perform this play. And then the surrender to the results, I'm not very good at. And, just because I've been brought up to win, and if you lose, it's the worst thing in the world, and you regroup and all that kind of stuff. But all that goal stuff or the surrender to the results, it just was really powerful. Josh Medcalf's book, I believe it was Chop Wood, Carry Water, where he talked about this. He said that the most dangerous, best soldier in the world is a soldier that has come to terms with the fact that he probably won't survive. It goes back to like the 300, like the Spartans, and Xerxes told them they need to surrender. And they said, no. And Xerxes said, well, we'll darken the skies with our arrows. And Leonidas said, then we'll fight you in the dark. That's a mission. That's that is a surrender. And, it was a suicide mission. Yeah. And they knew it. But because they surrendered to that result, they fought like hell. Yep. And I think it's a great way to live and to wake up excited every day about the mission you're on. And they're just is there any others that
play the long game? Huge
on that.
Yeah.
And I think that so many people are so short, minded, when I did a consult today with a lawyer out in Boulder, Colorado, and he has 2 daughters that are really good lacrosse athletes, and he wants to start doing speed training. And everywhere that they go, basically they lift weights and do gassers, and we're talking like 7 to 8 year olds. I'm like, come on, and so he finds the atomic speed workout and he goes, my God, this is what we're looking for. We want them to be more athletic and faster and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, it is, and then play the long game, write down everything. We get motivated when we see progress, when we see success. Lots of coaches think motivation comes from the mouth, like they talk in paragraphs, they deliver this wonderful speech, and they don't realize that the kids would fail a test on your speech. They haven't really internalized any of it, but they do become motivated when they think they're getting better. And sometimes it's not like, hey, you're doing great. Sometimes we have to measure their vertical jump and their 10-yard fly and their 4x4 predictor. And we have to be honest and say, you'll get better. You'll get better. This is, you're pretty bad today, but you're going to get better. And then the next week when they're better, say, see? Yeah. And I think that's powerful. And that's playing the long game. I think the greatest long game story is a really good friend of yours, Tyler Hoosman.
Yep.
Who was the 50. Now, was he on your team?
Yeah. He was a 5th string running back on that freshman team that you talked about.
5th string running back. And he was I think the 54th fastest guy out of 63.
Yep.
Let's just say that Tony Little at 270 pounds
Yep.
was faster than him.
Yep.
Okay. And to think that he went from running 16 miles an hour to 23 in a 4-year period, definitely he's playing the long game. And
Yeah.
I know he didn't make the Chargers this year, but he made it all the way to the final cut.
He's heading to Canada in May.
There you go.
So
he's a good dude. He had a great
Yeah.
college career, and we played the long game with that kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell people that that's freaky improvement.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's a reason why we're still talking about him.
Right.
But I think kids need to hear those stories. That if this kid can improve by 7 miles an hour over 4 years, maybe you can improve by 3.
Right. Right. And then now that I'm thinking about it, it also goes to your point of, plant a seed, water it, and kind of watch it grow.
Yep.
And that's exactly what everything's ever been. And you've grown stuff in extraordinary ways that I'm extremely grateful for. And just being in your presence, I kind of wish a lot of our stuff was recorded, bus talks, and just certain things, just because we talk so much, and I definitely soak in everything, and I'm like a sponge with you.